Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to you and welcome to your News at 9, coming to you live from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo, and I'm Joel Outscoon with your headlines tonight. Starting off with, 25th regular session of the UN Human Rights Council commences in Geneva. President Mahinda Rajapaksa departs for Myanmar to attend the BIMSTEC summit. Student protest leads to indefinite closure of Bandaranaga College, Gampaha. Wildlife health management stalled in 4 districts in the eastern zone. Chairman and former chairman of the Vilgamur Pradesh Sabha arrested on charges of transporting marijuana released on bail.
ඇයි අපිට මේ විදිහට පහර ගහන්නේ? අපිට තරම් පක්ෂ දෙපා වෙලා ගංජා විකුණලා හම්බ කරන තරම් ඕන කරන්නේ නැහැ.
ගංජා දාලා අපිව හිර කරන්න මේ මිනිස්සු ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඉදස් පක්ෂ මිනිසුන්ට මේ වගේ හිරිහැර කරන්නේ මොනවා ලබන්නද කියන එක අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
Let's now cross over to our main news desk for a comprehensive news bulletin, but also tune in to Newsfirst and stay tuned on Newsfirst as I'll be joining you on the international desk with the very latest on the distress, unfolding you the latest situation on Ukraine. Now over to our anchors.
Thank you, Joel. A very good evening and welcome to your primetime news bulletin. I'm Shayan Silva.
I'm Stephen Lazarus. Let's start off with a look at tonight's top story. The 25th regular session of the UN Human Rights Council commenced in Geneva today. The session commenced at about 1:30 in the afternoon Sri Lanka time, and the session will continue until the 28th of this month.
Secretary General.
The 25th regular session of the UN Human Rights Council commenced today under the auspices of the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and the High Commissioner for Human Rights Navi Pillay.
This 25th session of the Human Rights Council launches an ambitious year of activities to promote and protect human rights of all people everywhere and strengthen human rights mechanisms in all countries. In many parts of the world, impunity is still rampant, and accountability based on the rule of law remains a dream. Those who ignore these voices often find themselves being called to account sooner or later and lose their power. Respect for human rights is not a mere legal obligation, but also bestows legitimacy on those leaders who ensure this respect. Protection of human rights is at the very heart of the United Nations. It must shine through the decisions of its intergovernmental bodies and throughout the work of the organization.
This council is uniquely aware of the heavy toll of human rights abuses and atrocities. You read the rapporteurs' reports, you hear the testimony of victims, you help translate those appeals into concrete action. And we survey crises and challenges around the world. Your work for accountability and an end to impunity are critical. I welcome the High Commissioner's report on promoting reconciliation and accountability in Sri Lanka. The Commission on Inquiry on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea gives voice to the suffering of the many victims of grave human rights violations and provides a roadmap for the country to adhere with the universal human rights standard.
47 countries are represented in the UN Human Rights Council. High Commissioner Navi Pillay's written report, which also consists of observations and recommendations on Sri Lanka, will be presented to the Council during the session. It was also reported in the recent past that a third resolution on Sri Lanka will be put forward at the UN Human Rights Council session. Navanithan Pillay is scheduled to submit a report. We have already sent our response to this report, but unfortunately, unlike last year, the response that we submitted has not been attached to the report and distributed. We have already made submissions regarding this. We also hope to make submissions regarding this when the report is presented. The Sri Lankan delegation at the UN Human Rights Council, which will be led by Minister of External Affairs Professor G.L. Pires, also comprises of Ministers Mahinda Samarasinga and Nimal Siripala de Silva and Secretary to the President Lalit Veeratunga. Attorney General Palitha Fernando said that a team of specialists, including Additional Solicitor General Jayantha Jayasuriya and Deputy Solicitor General Shavindra Fernando, would also participate at the UN Human Rights Council session. The Sri Lankan delegation will arrive in Geneva over the next few days. Various people have said that a resolution has already been put forth, but no steps have been taken as yet to distribute such a resolution. We are prepared as a team to face this. On the 9th, when I go there, I hope to address the regional meeting and make further clarifications. At the same time, we hope to brief the international community on the progress we have made. Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the UN in Geneva, Ravinath Aryasinghe, also spoke to Newsfirst today prior to the commencement of the Human Rights Council session.
Sri Lanka views this session as an opportunity for us to engage in a positive manner with the Human Rights Council, the membership of the Council, to project what Sri Lanka has been doing over the past year. Since the last high-level segment, we believe that we have done a considerable amount of taken a considerable amount of actions which have not been sufficiently appreciated by a handful of members of the international community. We believe that our approach of briefing everybody on what we have done will be viewed by these countries in a manner which will help them make up their minds about whether Sri Lanka has moved forward.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa departed for Myanmar today to take part in the BIMSTEC summit.
BIMSTEC, or the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multisectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, brings together representatives of 7 countries, namely Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, India and Thailand. 14 key areas such as trade, development, technology, power and tourism are due to be discussed at the summit. President Mahinda Rajapaksa is due to address the summit tomorrow. He is also due to meet Indian Premier Dr. Manmohan Singh on the sidelines of the sub-regional summit.
Russia has vowed that its troops will stay in Ukraine as pressure mounts internationally. Russian authorities have said that Russian troops will remain there until the political situation is normalized. Newsfirst, Joel Outscone joins us from the international desk.
Russia G8 partners have condemned Moscow's military build-up in Ukraine amid fresh diplomatic efforts to avert a dangerous escalation of the crisis. The world's 7 major industrialized powers also suspended preparations for the G8 summit in Sochi in June. Russia is the president of the G8 for 2014. Now Newsfirst Shamil Razuldin reports on this fast developing story.
Despite its call for a full military mobilization, the new Ukrainian government's position in Crimea is looking increasingly weak. Russia has control of much of the region, moving swiftly, decisively, without a shot being fired. Russian troops are patrolling outside one of Ukraine's military bases. President Vladimir Putin said that he wouldn't hesitate to act to protect fellow Russians from the government in Kiev. He is calling the government extremist and illegal. Ukrainian Prime Minister had said that his country is on the verge of disaster. In Kiev, crowds filled Independence Square, no longer celebrating victory but appealing for outside help. British Foreign Secretary William Hague has flown to Kiev for crisis talks.
We will also continue to urge the Russians to speak directly to the Ukrainians through ministers, through military channels. They've so far not wanted to do that. I urged Foreign Minister Lavrov yesterday to do that.
US President Barack Obama has meanwhile spoken to other Western leaders, including Prime Minister David Cameron. The US Secretary of State John Kerry is due in Kiev tomorrow. Kerry has been critical about the actions of President Vladimir Putin.
He is not going to gain by this. You know, he may be able to have his troops for some period of time in Crimea unless he resolves this. But the fact is he's going to lose on the international stage. He may find himself with asset freezes on Russian business. American business may pull back. There may be a further tumble of the ruble. There's a huge price to pay. The United States is united. Russia is isolated.
NATO warned Russia that military action against Ukraine was illegal and expressed grave concern over the Russian parliament's authorization of the use of force.
We call upon Russia to honor all its international commitments, to withdraw its forces to its bases, and to refrain from any interference elsewhere in Ukraine.
Denis Berezovsky, the Ukrainian Navy chief, swore allegiance to the pro-Russian regional leaders of Crimea during a hastily arranged news conference. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon had said that the international community is closely watching the developments in Kiev.
I am gravely concerned.
As small Russian ships sail into harbors in Sevastopol, it is clear by this stage that Kiev has lost control of Crimea. The question now is, will Eastern Ukraine think the same way, and at what cost? Shamir Rasuldin, Newsfirst International Desk.
The chairman and former chairman of the Vilgamur Pradeshia Sabha, who were arrested on charges of transporting cannabis in an official vehicle belonging to the Pradeshia Sabha, were released on bail today. Bail was granted when the two individuals were presented before the Naula magistrate Manjula Tilakaratna today.
The Vilgamur police arrested Vilgamur Pradeshia Sabha chairman Jayant Veerasekara and former chairman Ranjit Kumarasinghe on charge of transporting 275 grams of cannabis. An SUV belonging to the Pradeshia Sabha was also taken into police custody. The two suspects were placed in remand custody after being produced before the Naula acting magistrate. When they were presented before the Naula magistrate today, the duo were released on cash bail of 10,000 rupees, each sureties amounting to 50,000 rupees. A number of local politicians were present in court when the two suspects made their appearances before the magistrate.
The Honourable Justice granted bail today. The magistrate also advised the police to direct the matter to the Attorney General's Department and seek their advice on filing charges.
The case was postponed until the 16th of May. The magistrate ordered the suspects to appear before the Laggala Circuit Magistrate Court on the 16th of May.
What took place was a disgraceful and lowly act. Pradeshia Sabha member Lakshman Vasanta Pereira planted cannabis in my official vehicle. He is an individual who distills liquor in Hingurana. He uses this to get votes from the people of Vilgamur. He tried to defeat the budget of my Pradeshia Sabha, but he didn't succeed. He resorted to such an act after this. My people know that I don't even smoke a cigarette. I am someone who spoke out against cannabis. Why do they attack us in this manner? We are disgusted with the part. Honourable President, we have no need to earn money by selling cannabis. There is now a grave issue concerning my life as well. We are being trodden on politically by Lakshman Vasanta. The people of Laggala are facing numerous difficulties due to this. This is a very oppressive period that the public are living through. It is a question as to what he aims to accomplish by trying to jail fellow SLF peers using cannabis. The people of Laggala are being oppressed even when our president is in power, together with our cabinet, our provincial councils and our Pradeshia Sabhas. We have taken steps to inform the relevant authorities, including the president. The courts will decide in the future on how the police should act. We are saddened by the political situation in the district. We will have to face many threats in the future. As a precaution, I filed a complaint with the police today because we have received information that there are persons who are attempting to tarnish our image. The chairman was arrested for 275 grams of cannabis, but there are those who deal in large quantities of this substance who roam free. Fake SLF peers who did not even lift a finger to help the party are the ones who are attacking real SLF peers.
I don't care if he is no longer the chairman. He has a family now. He has 3 children. Please save my son. Bandaranaike College in Gampa has been closed indefinitely. Zonal Education Director in Gampa, S.K. Mallavarachi, says that this step was taken as a result of the disruptive action of a group of students who were calling for the removal of the school principal.
Zonal Education Director S.K. Mallavarachi said that a group of students began acting in a disruptive manner following the opening bell at the Bandaranaike College in Kampaha this morning. Police say that the journalist who covered the disturbance at the school was also set upon by students and that his camera was damaged. Police had intervened to remove the students from the school grounds.
A handful of children and 3 or 4 teachers are behind this incident. That is what we have learnt. It is this group that has incited the entire school.
The Zonal Education Director said that inquiries are underway to identify the students and teachers involved in the incident.
I too believe that there are shortcomings on the principal's part, but that is a different story. If children begin protesting and oust principals, it will set a bad precedent for the entire nation. Thereby, I believe that immediate inquiries should be held to identify the students and teachers involved in this and bring the children onto the correct path and remove the teachers who are behind this from the school immediately. If the principal has done something wrong or if there is some shortcoming on his part, then what should be done finally is to hold inquiries at the ministry level and then remove him.
Meanwhile, the case filed against the former principal of Sir John Kotalavala College in Kurunegala by the National Child Protection Authority over the suicide of a female student was taken up in court once again today. The NCPA recently arrested the principal on charges of causing stress to the victim by reprimanding her. The principal was released on bail after being produced in court.
In court today, attorneys representing the family of the deceased girl asked that the investigation into the incident be entrusted to an independent institution, as the National Child Protection Authority was not acting without bias. However, the court rejected this request. Lawyers representing the aggrieved party also submitted to court that the principal had violated the conditions of his bail by visiting the school after being released and addressing students and parents. However, the defense counsel noted that if such a thing had been organized, it was done so without informing his client. As such, the court determined that the principal had not violated the conditions of his bail. The case is to be taken up again on the 2nd of next month.
This report was filed by view reporter Roshan Kumaran on an accident that occurred on the Serunuwara Kantale road.
A motor accident occurred on the Serunuwara Kantale road at dawn today. The accident occurred when a lorry toppled after veering off the road and ramming into an electricity post. The driver of the lorry has been admitted to hospital.
Retired Air Chief Marshal Harsha Abe Vikrama has been appointed as chairman of the Bank of Ceylon with effect from the 15th of March. The appointment was made by the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance and Planning, Dr. P.V. Jayasundara.
Speaking to Newsfirst, Abe Vikrama said that he genuinely intends to revive the Bank of Ceylon, which is at present a sleeping giant. He further said that he envisages to instill a good working culture and serve the customers more effectively and efficiently. Air Chief Marshal Harsha Duminda Abe Vikrama was born on the 28th of November 1960. Having completed his education at Royal College Colombo, he joined the Sri Lanka Air Force in 1980 as an officer cadet and rose to the highest office when he was appointed as the commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force on 27th February 2011. After a span of over 33 years, he retired from the SLAF on the 27th February 2014, having been promoted to the rank of Air Chief Marshal in recognition of services rendered to the nation.
You're watching News First. Up next is Action TV.
The quality of reconnaissance craft that were granted to the Udawalawa National Park recently is made evident when considering the statements made by the subject minister at the event held to launch the use of these craft. Allegations are levelled at officials and at the ministry. This is the response that we can give to this. Which way do you think you want to look? Come here and use this. Here are the pictures. This is a certificate for our consciences. It is a certificate of our honesty and our service. This craft, which could have been used as a certificate of honesty and service, has gone missing following its maiden flight. If it was not misplaced, there are many things that the reconnaissance craft could have been used to observe. This jeep can be highlighted as one of those things. This jeep is as valuable as the reconnaissance craft that went missing. It is the only vehicle at the Eastern Wildlife Health Management Office. The Eastern Wildlife Health Management Office, which comprises of a staff including a single veterinarian, covers an area spanning the whole of the Ampara and Batticaloa districts and areas in the Monoragala and Polonnaruwa districts. Since the fauna, including elephants who fall sick in these areas, do not come to the Eastern Wildlife Health Management Office to seek treatment, it is necessary for the staff, including the veterinarian, to go in search of them. 7 months have now passed since the staff have not carried out this responsibility. The number of wild elephants alone who have died in areas coming under the purview of this office as a result of the failure to carry out this responsibility is 10. This pachyderm, which inhabited the Buddhangala reserve, did not pass away as a result of sustaining a fatal wound, but as a result of not receiving treatment in time for a minor injury. On just one occasion, the staff of the Eastern Wildlife Health Management Office had managed to treat this elephant as the Ampara District Secretariat provided them with a vehicle. While attention should be paid to using unmanned reconnaissance drones, shouldn't an equal amount of attention be paid to maintaining existing resources? Minister of Wildlife Resource Conservation, this is over to you.
A meeting organised by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna in the Vanathamulla area in Borala was disrupted by the police.
A correspondent in the area stated that policemen from the Dematagada police station arrived at the meeting and stated that the stage must be removed as it was blocking the road. Later the meeting was allowed to proceed after an official arrived at the scene and investigated the setup upon the instructions of the Elections Commissioner. We got permission from the Colombo Municipal Council as well as the OIC of the Dematagada Police. We also paid a deposit. This is that receipt. When the government conducted a meeting, they closed off the entire road. Was such request made from them? The police was sent because there are fears that the people will vote for the JVP and they want to stop that.
UPFA Gampaha District Candidate Attorney at Law Susara Dinal says that the upcoming Provincial Council election presents a good opportunity to show the international community that the Sri Lankan people are of one view. He made these remarks at a public rally held in Dewlapitiya yesterday.
Susara Dinal's campaign office in Nelligahamulla Dewlapitiya was declared open yesterday. While our President Mahinda Rajapaksa has done something that the whole world said could not be done, several people are trying to turn it around and are trying to undermine our small country. This provincial council election is very important to the people living in our villages in many ways. On one hand, it is an opportunity for them to elect to the council persons who will serve them. On the other hand, the result of this election will be very important at a time when persons are trying to hurt us and pinch us internationally. The result will show that the people of our country are of one voice, of one view, and are with His Excellency the President. At the same time, I respectfully call all of you to think about the next generation and be cautious when casting your vote.
A public rally was held in Beliata this morning under the auspices of UNP parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa.
The public rally was held in the Puak Dandawa area in Beliata. The newest duty of the cabinet is to roguishly clear goods through the harbour and customs that are brought into the country illegally without informing the government and in violation of the law. This time around, another prominent figure in the government is depriving our country of 120 million rupees and is engaged in a major effort to clear 15 containers of dried erica nut or karunka.
Speaking at a rally held in Rajagiriya yesterday, UPFA parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa claimed that Sri Lanka is the only nation in South Asia where people can live in freedom.
This rally, which was held at the Obesekarapura Cooperative Junction in Rajagiriya, was organized by the Deputy Mayor of Kotte, Madhuru Vithanage. Some Western nations have joined with the LTTE terrorists and have created a sectionist struggle in this country and are trying to make Sri Lanka their center in the South Asian region. In all of South Asia, this is the only country that supplies electricity 24 hours a day. Unemployment is the lowest in our country. Economic development is highest in our country. Of the countries that are most suitable to live in, ours is the cleanest. I must remind you that our country is the only one where you can live in freedom. This is the reality. Some people in our country and people abroad cannot bear this. UNP parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe participated at a political meeting held in Walawatha, Ranala yesterday.
There are a number of ministers in this electorate. Look at how people like Vimal Veera once entered politics. Look at him today. He has a house with 7 air-conditioned rooms. He spent 150 million on his last election campaign. Where is this money from? Doesn't he feel the pain of the poor people? Look at all the ministers and councillors. Take a look back at how they entered politics.
United People's Freedom Alliance conducted a media briefing in Colombo this morning.
Because our opposition cannot come to power with the assistance of the public, they are trying to get rid of the president through foreigners. The opposition, which cannot rise to power, is now conspiring against the president and the country at the UN Human Rights Council. There is no point in blaming the government, the alliance or the president for your shortcomings. We have to ask for forgiveness for what happened in 83. Curfew wasn't implemented till after 5 days. J.R. Chawadana's administration did not do anything. Ranil Wickremesinghe was in that cabinet. He was ranked number 1 in the Colombo district after securing many votes. Has he ever spoken about the damage caused to the Tamil community in the Colombo district? The social as well as the property damage that took place? Have they paid even 5 cents as compensation? Have they represented you? No. The people in Colombo would like to sign a petition against the injustice that occurred in 83 and call for an investigation. Why should we just focus on the last 2 months? Let's start from 83.
And on sports first tonight, Sri Lanka's brilliant run of form in the Asia Cup continued as they were able to clinch a comfortable 129 runs win against tournament underdogs Afghanistan today. Sri Lanka, who clinched a bonus point with a victory against Afghanistan, currently leads the Asia Cup points table with 13 points after 3 wins.
Sri Lanka, who chose to bat first, got off to a very slow start. Opener Lahiru Thirimana's stay at the crease was brief as he was completely undone by a superb Chaparzad run delivery that rattled the stumps. Kusal Janit Pereira attempted to break the shackles of the Afghanistan bowling attack and managed to score 33 runs inclusive of 4 boundaries and a 6. However, it was the patience of Kumar Sangakkara who scored his 85th Test half-century today, together with the calm nerves of skipper Angelo Matthews, that guided Sri Lanka to a competitive total of 253 runs for the loss of 6 wickets in their 50 overs. Sangakkara top scored with 76 runs while Matthew chipped in with an unbeaten 45. Mirawiz Ashraf bagged 2 wickets for Afghanistan. Afghanistan, who commenced their chase of 254 runs, suffered an early loss as Suranga Akmal dismissed opener Muhammad Shahzad for just 7 runs. A second wicket stand of 45 runs threatened to take the game away from Sri Lanka.
A pitch gone.
The fall of Askar Stanikazai for 27 runs triggered a collapse of the Afghan batting lineup, and they were eventually restricted to 124 runs. Ajanta Mendis and Thisar Pereira bagged 3 wickets apiece for Sri Lanka.
Arnold speaks highly about this bowler, and he's been given. It's in the air. I'm afraid it's all over.
Well, with that, we wrap up Primetime News at 9. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.